Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Thanks for joining me today. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you returning, I appreciate your support. We are going to be doing a fun fold today. And these are part of my fun fold series where I take a certain fold and I show you various variations on that fold. So this month I've been doing folds that kind of are more like action or have some movement. I had done previously, it wasn't a card, but it was a box. But again, it was called those explosion boxes, where it kind of folds out and then it comes back up into a little cube. So this is one, some of these projects that I'm showing you, these are what my class on Tuesday, my in-person card class, are going to be making. So this is one of those little explosion boxes. And then the other card they're going to be doing, and I'll show you some of the other projects they'll be making as well. This is called, I've heard it called several different things, but I'm calling it an accordion window flip card. Because as you open it, you get that little accordion effect, and then you're also getting the flip, and you've got your little window here as well. So that die is kind of resting on this little top of this accordion on it, and then it just folds flat. So that's just a standard A2 card. So this is one, we're going to do a variation of this one today, but it's a pretty easy kind of fold to do. And then it's kind of, I don't know, this is kind of fun. Whee! But anyway, so we're going to do a version of this one today. But I wanted to kind of quick show you some of the other projects that they're going to be doing on Tuesday. So another really popular thing that people have been doing is with the metallic enamel effects. And of course, I've got the gold one already packed away. But these are, you get 3 of them. And so this is the copper and then the silver and then there's a gold. And what I had done is I just squeezed it out and then I just used a blending brush and then basically brushed over that embossed folder, you know, the cardstock that was embossed with a folder. So it's really pretty. So that's on basic beige, and then I had done that gold brushed over it. So that's another card that they're going to be doing on Tuesday. But yeah, there's a bunch of like really fun techniques. So I'm going to work on a video in the future here that'll show some other techniques to use with those enamel effects. So that's one of them. And then another two I had some retired paper, and so I was just trying to use it up. But it's just that one technique where you take the In the Woods die and you die cut the whole thing, and then you take your circle shapes and you'll cut one and then the other, and then that way you get 2 cards, and then you just put your pattern paper behind it. So this is another one that they'll be making next Tuesday, and I'm just using up, you know, just some retired paper for it. So kind of fun. All right, but we're going to get going with our card that we are going to be doing today in the fun fold. So what you will need is, we're going to be doing this one. So I'm using the Winter Meadow Designer Series paper, which is an online exclusive pattern paper. And then also that brushed metallic gold and silver, that again is an online exclusive. And then this glimmer paper, it's actually part of the glimmer paper that is with the Xenia paper. There's like it's like a berry burst, a granny apple green, and then this really pretty kind of iridescent glimmer paper, and that's another online exclusive. And then we'll be using my favorite set, this Peaceful Evergreens stamp set, and then also the coordinating dies that go with it on that. So that's what we're going to be using today, as well as, and this one is in the Holiday Mini, the 2024, Stampin' Up! Holiday Mini catalog. And then this one, the Saying, is another online exclusive, and it's called Greetings of the Season. So those are all the stamps and dies and stuff that we'll be using. So again, we're going to do a version of this one. So again, you got that little accordion flip. And then I just did a little kind of like Northern Lights scene on the inside of it. So just using some different paper with it. So the parts that you're going to need will be just your standard card base, which is just 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to just scored it in half. So that's just your standard A2 card. Your accordion piece Oh, and then your designer series papers is 4 by 5 1/4, and that's for the front. The accordion piece is 5 1/4 by 8, and this can be any color. Like on my first one, I did Lost Lagoon, and then my card base was Smoky Slate. Today, I'm just using basic white because my card base is Misty Moonlight. So well, I'll be doing that. So that's 5 1/4 by 8, and then we're going to score on the long side at 2.5, 4.5, and 6 inches. And then for the panels, and these you can either do the same or different. And so today I'm going to change it up. I'm going to do different designer series patterns. It's just basically a front and the back of the paper. But one of them will be 1 1/4 by 5, and then the other one is 1 3/4 by 5. So that's just basically, it's the same pattern. I just flipped it over on the one. And then whatever you want to die cut, again, I'm going to do a tree. Now, a lot of them that you see on YouTube right now with the other, I think they call it like a circle flip. They're just using a circle die instead. So that's another way too, but I was just trying to change it up and using more of a shape, kind of a image, to show you that you can do that as well, besides just doing a circle. So then you just need your circle dies or whatever die you want to use. And then of course some scratch cardstock, because I need to stamp my tree and die cut that out as well. All right, so we're going to get started with the scoring. So my card base, I've already scored it in half, so that one's already done. But our accordion, we want to get this scored. And again, we're on the long side. So we're going to score at 2.5, 4.5, and 6. Okay, so you got those. Then, now what you're going to do is where this larger section is, rotate this around, because now that is becoming this part where you're doing your stamping on the inside of it. So this score line here, where that wider section is, this one becomes your valley fold, and then the others are all mountain. So I'll get that out of the way. So we've got, this one is our valley, and then these are all going to be mountain, the other two. So now you've got kind of this look, okay? Because this is where your greeting is going to be. And I usually just kind of burnish it a little bit more just to make sure it's falling into shape. Okay, so that's what it's gonna look like. Because this part here is what is going to be attached to your card front. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, so we'll set that aside for now, is we're going to die cut our window. And what I like to do, so again, we're going to take our card base. I'm not going to fold it in half yet. Just want to make sure I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to die cut this side. And then we're going to take our 1/4 sheet of designer series paper, which was at 4 by 5 1/4. So keeping your card open. Now you can, if you were doing, you know, like a circle or whatever, or a square, you can go ahead and just put tape, you know, put adhesive on just your 4 corners and stuff, or just outline and then put it down and then die cut. But I don't, because I've got that tree, I need to get in with the glue and stuff later. So I'm just going to temporarily use some low tack tape, and I'm just going to hold my designer series paper in place where I want it. Oops. Oh, I got my nails trimmed and I'm like, they're too short now. I can't pick up my paper. All right, that looks good. So I'm just going to temporarily put that in place. All right, then I'm going to take my large outline tree die from the Peaceful Evergreens, and I'm going to center this onto my card front. And again, I'm just going to use some low tack tape just to hold this in place. So we're going to die cut through the pattern paper and our cardstock. Okay, and then once you have that where you like it, we are going to die cut this. So I'm just going to move this out of the way here. I'm going to zoom out here so we can get our die cut underneath the camera. Okay. So, very important to always remember you want to keep your card open when you do the die cutting, because you don't want to put a hole in the you know, the back side of your card. You only want the window in the front. Okay, just making sure. All right, so we'll die cut this. All right, now your pieces that you die cut out, you're going to hold on to those because we're actually going to layer those behind our stamped image. So we've got our pattern paper. We're just going to set that aside for now. And then we've got the cardstock. So we'll save that. And then now we can go ahead and, you know, glue this down. But before, I forgot, I was going to stamp because I have to die cut my tree image. So let's do our stamping really quick, and then we'll have to die cut again. So we can go ahead and temporarily, or remove our low tack tape here. Okay, so set that aside. I'm just going to real quick stamp my tree, and I'm going to do Night and Navy. I did the Misty Moonlight, and I didn't really, I liked a little bit darker tree, so I'm going to do the Night and Navy, and I'm taking the largest tree from the Peaceful Evergreens, and we'll just ink this up. And then I stamp full strength, and then I lift it up and I shift it over just a little bit, stamp again, shift it over to the left, and stamp again. And that way I'm just kind of filling in, you know, some of that negative space. I'm going to do another one here, just to give my tree a little bit more dimension and stuff. Okay, so now we can go ahead and die cut our tree. And then when I go to die cut, I'm still lining up where the dark, basically the darkest tree layer was. Okay, and then let's run this through really quick. Die cut that. That's it for the die cutting. All right, so there's our tree. Okay. All right, we can zoom back in. So now we're just going to go ahead and assemble these layers. So we had the card, the designer series paper, and then our stamped image. So I'm just going to put glue on the back. So I'm just going to do all three of these layers adhered together. And you don't have to do this, but I like it because I'm like, well, you got these extra pieces left over. I mean, you could use them on another card, but I wanted my tree to have a little bit more strength, you know, with it. So I am going to layer the cardstock behind. And then the pattern paper, you know, because we stamped it this way. If I put it like this, it doesn't align. So you have to do the opposite side and adhere that to it. So when you look at your card from the back side, you're going to see that designer series paper. And this is like a really, really pale, it's like smoky slate. It's super light. But, and see on my other one, I've got that green, the Lost Lagoon behind it. So I don't know, I just think kind of finishes off the look. So let's go ahead and attach this designer series paper to the back of this. All right, so now that is all adhered. And then we can go ahead. Now this is the other, when you get your dies, it has this little image. That's what this part is. And this is what I had done that glimmer paper on. So it's got a really pretty iridescent kind of sparkle to it. So that's going to be layered right on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on now. And I tried, I had done like a sticker sheet, but sometimes with this glitter paper, because it's kind of already a thick paper, and sometimes like even with the foil, it doesn't always like, especially on some of these more detailed image or die cuts, it doesn't always die cut very well, or at least you have to run it through the machine several times. All right, so now we've got that little glittery tree. Pretty. So you can tell I love sparkle. All right, so that's our little tree flip. So we're going to set that aside for now. Let's go ahead and bring back our panels and our accordion. So remember I had said the larger part, which is that 2.5 section, that becomes the right side of the inside of your card where you're going to be doing your stamping. So on these next 2 panels, next to that is where you put your designer series papers. So this first one is going to be that 1 3/4, and then this one is 1 1/4. And then this you don't put anything on. This is what gets glued to your card. So we can go ahead and attach these, and we can attach our card front as well. I'm just going to grab my other tape. Yeah, I love this winter meadow. This was a paper, it was last year, and they carried it over, so it's been online for over a year now, and I just love this paper. So I had gotten a second pack of it just because it's, and I've used it year round too. I mean, it doesn't have to always be at Christmas. And again, you can do this all the same, but I'm kind of switching up because I wanted to see the 2 different sides of the paper. All right, and then let's do our stamping on the inside. So I'm going to do the saying from the greetings of the season. And that I will stamp in the misty moonlight. So this is, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I have to make sure I'm stamping straight. I have to stand up to do this. tree line on the bottom with my little northern lights. So I need, we're going to do shaded spruce, we're going to do a little moody mauve, and then I did not use blueberry bushel. That was changing my mind. Okay, so we're going to do our trees first. And again, these are all from that Peaceful Evergreens. So these are going to be in the shaded spruce. It's a very dark green. And I'm going to do that same thing where I stamp once. Oops, let me get back in the, I need to make a little room here. There we go. I moved my glass mat, so my camera setup is a little different. So I'm going to stamp it once, and then I'm going to repeat and just shift it over, shift it down, just to kind of give a little bit of, you know, dimension and stuff to my tree line. There we go. All right, then for my swoosh of my night sky, I'm gonna do Misty Moonlight again, but I am gonna stamp off once, and I've just got some scratch paper here because I want this to be lighter. And then this, I'm just gonna kind of go over my trees like so, just so it's a little bit lighter. And then my other little swoosh, or this could actually be like a snowdrift. I'm using it as a swoosh in my Northern Lights. So this is that Moody Mauve, which is an in color. And I'm just gonna kind of plop this over like so. And then I'm gonna do, it's non-Stampin' Up, but I wanted a gold metallic. So this is just a gold metallic ink pad. Looks like I got a little smudge there. I must have shifted on my ink pad a little bit here. Let me just take my little sand eraser and get rid of my boo-boo. Now that's where you strategically place something to cover it up. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a little star up here in the right-hand corner. And then the other little image from that Peaceful Evergreens, which is, again, it could probably be like ground or, you know, whatever, but I'm going to use it as stars. So I'm just going to ink these up in that metallic. And we'll just kind of stamp once, flip it over, and then stamp again, just to get our little bit of a glimmer with those stars in there. Fun! All right, and that is it for the stamping. Now we're just going to go ahead and assemble this. And again, that's a metallic ink. I'm just going to give it a real quick shot with the heat tool. Just so that I don't smudge it. Okay, now when you, oh here, let's go ahead and attach this as well. So this is our card front. We're going to go ahead and fold this in half now. And then we'll attach this. So I'm going to use my liquid glue again. Yeah, because this is such a detailed, you know, kind of die, that's why I wanted to do the liquid glue versus just putting tape around the border, because I wanted to get all these little pieces here adhered so they're not they wouldn't lift up or tear. Otherwise, if you're just doing like a circle, like I said, you would just put tape on this, you know, on the back side of it, and then die cut it, and then you wouldn't have to worry about holding it, you know, temporarily in place and stuff with the low tack tape. And then we'll just go ahead and layer this on top, lining up where my die cuts were. Burnish. Okay, so now our accordion piece. All right, so what you want to do is on that 2.5 inch section, which is where your greeting was, you can go ahead and put glue or tape all on the back of this one. And then I just basically kind of keep this all folded like so. So I've got basically where my that first score line is, I bring that in. Just so I've kind of got like that 4 by 5 1/4. And then I just centered this looking on the right hand side just to make sure, you know, I've got my, basically like my little 1/4 inch border along the side and the top and the bottom. And once that's on, well, then I'll just go ahead and press that down. Okay, so now these next part, you know, there's no adhesive on these next 2 panels. This side that doesn't have any designer series paper, I just fold this down now. And then I take my card front and I just want to see, you know, basically looking at it like how far down do I need to put my glue. And so I just kind of take a pencil mark. And that way I know I can put glue from here on down. So you're going to put all your adhesive then on the back of the card front. And then I just remove my little pencil lines. Okay, so this will then unfold it. Okay, so you basically have this other 2 inch or so, what was this, like 2 1/4 or something like that. You're going to bring this down and just close it on top. And now that is attached to the front of your, or the back side of your card front. And then I just give it a good pinch here just to make sure that this little section here is really adhered well, so it doesn't pull away. Okay, so now you've got your accordion attached to your card. And then how you get the flip part. Now, the first time I did this, I put the glue on the wrong side. You don't put glue here. It's got to be going on, your die cut piece has to be attached to this section, not to the card front. Because I was like, oh, why isn't this working? All right, so what I do is I kind of keep this closed, and I just, because this has got so many layers, I just kind of give it a little, I kind of putz around with it just a little bit, just to make sure I can kind of have an idea of where it needs to slide in here. Now, of course, a circle would be a lot easier. Okay, so that looks good. So now, you only want to put glue on this back side of this right hand side of the tree. And I just make sure, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so what I like to do again is I'm going to take my pencil and just very lightly do a line so that I know I'm only putting glue on this side of the tree. So again, if you did like a circle, you know, image, it's going to be a lot easier than like this detailed kind of die. But, you know, Linda doesn't do anything simple. But no, I just thought this was really pretty. I just thought it was kind of neat. And again, I just kind of wedge it in there. And then I just make sure as I'm closing it that it's working. So then I just hold that, kind of give it a pinch, just to make sure it's attached onto this accordion part of your card. So see, now there's no glue here so that it will be able to move and flip. Cute. Okay. Oh, and I got a little crooked. I may have to. Oh, we can just putz with it. I'll do that later. Okay. Then I've got one little star. We got to add our gems. And so I've die cut my tiny little stars already in that brushed metallic silver. And I'm just going to put these on with a little mini dimensional. And so that is actually going to be attached, not to the tree, it's actually going to be attached to the card front. And then we'll add our little gems. These are the tinsel gems, and I'm actually going to do all the colors because I thought it would bring in, you know, kind of the pinks and the greens that I did on the inside of the tree. So let's go ahead and add these. Sorry. So we'll do a little pink one. And green. Oops. Ugh, I'm having a heck of a time today. And then we'll do a little blue one. So I'm just going to do 5. You always want an odd number when you're kind of putting your embellishments on. And then we'll do another little green one. And I'm kind of alternating between the large and the small gems on here. All right. So that is it. That is the the accordion window flip card. Fun. Super cute. So I would love to see, like I said, I have in my Facebook, Stampin' with the VIP Hounds. If you want to try out some of these, this kind of fun fold and share your creations, I would love to see them. Otherwise, have a great and creative day with the Thanksgiving holiday coming up here in the States. I'm going to be out of town. So for all of you who are stateside, have a happy Thanksgiving, and I will stamp again with you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.